All right, everyone. Welcome into week. See, what is this, Ronnie? Week 2.
Week
This
3?
is week 3 of football season. Week 2 for us.
Yeah.
On the Fearless Football Forecast for the Daily Reflector. I'm Reflector Prep Sports beat writer Jordan Anders. This is Ronnie Woodward.
Back again.
We're gonna come up with a new title for you every week.
Yeah, we gotta work on that.
Yeah. But we're here. Kind of a crazy week, Ronnie, to look forward to. Week 3 games. We got 6 week 3 games, 4 of which, as of recording this, which is about 5 o'clock on Wednesday, 4 of which being played on Thursday. 2 were supposed to, 2 were not. Were changed today. Yep. Still 2 as of right now scheduled to be played on Friday. So we're going to look at all 6 of those games and give you picks for how we think they're all going to shake out. We're on location, as you can see right there, kinda at DH Conley. The football team is practicing off to our left, so trying to be a little quiet for them. But
we got your volume up if
yeah, exactly.
if
you got closed captioning, now's the time. But we're out here at Conley because they are one of the teams, and we're going to jump in and start with them. They're one of the teams that are playing on Thursday. They moved up as opposed in advance of some possible rain on Friday night. Playing Washington, and Ronnie, this really feels like a game after Conley kind of housed Washington 44-7 last year. This feels like a game that it doesn't really matter what night they play it on. That Washington has kind of struggled a little bit. They're under a new head coach. Conley has scored, I think it's 49 and 60 in 2 weeks, which is
impressive.
Pretty par for the course here. So I think, like I said, it doesn't really matter what night this is played. I think Conley's the favorite here, and I think they win at home.
Yeah, I agree. I've covered a few of these interesting games that Nate kind of referenced with you early in the week. But those seemed like they were much better Washington teams 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Right.
They had Conley's like bugaboo, had their number or whatever. But I agree. I think Conley's too good. This is one of those that the Vikings will have to play well, but I think they take care of it. I'll take Conley in that one.
Cool.
The next matchup here, Princeton is at Farmville Central. 2 pretty good 1A, 2A, smaller school programs, you could say. Princeton, I know, has some rich tradition. They had a running back a few years ago. I think Frazier was his last name. Was at NC State now, but it was like this all-world running back. And you look at their 2-0. Farmville Central's 1-1. So again, a lot of tradition. Some schools that have some talent. I guess at that level. Even though Princeton's a really small school, Farmville's kind of the same way, but they have some talent, some speed always.
Right.
Farmville's 1-1. Got a big win last week. Went on the road, right? Or
they were at home.
Yeah, they were at home. Summers covered that one in Farmville. I remember they beat North Lenore 41-16, got that thing rolling. So they're 1-1, but the loss was a close loss. And then they got a big win. So to pick this one, God, I don't know. Honestly, this one's tough.
It is.
I'll go, trying to look at, Princeton just beat a 3A school last week. I'm going to go with Princeton based on, again, I know they've been really good in the past. I think it's a really good game, maybe the closest game we have all week. I'll go with Princeton and maybe a quasi-upset in that one.
That's possible, and you said possibly the biggest one of the week. I think or the closest one of the week. I think is also possible. But I think this is a Farmville Central team that's not going to look past the fact that this is a 1A school.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any risk of the Jaguars kind of overlooking them, and for them to kind of blow up. The biggest surprise to me last week was how soundly they beat North Lenore after how good North Lenore has become. So I think the Jags stay strong at home. This is their 3rd straight home game to start the year of 4 that they've got coming up. So I think they take care of business at home and pick up the win.
I always like picking against you, by the way. So I'm glad that worked out.
We'll have to sit down and tally it up eventually and see how we do. The next matchup, the Farmville Central game was scheduled already because of the Labor Day weekend on Thursday. South Central was also scheduled already to play on Thursday. They're at Southwest Edgecombe, and talking to Andy too this past weekend after they won at West Craven, which was a huge win for them. The biggest thing, and I think the biggest thing anytime anybody plays Southwest Edgecombe, the word that always comes to mind is physicality, and that was exactly the first thing that Coach 2 mentioned, and the big thing that they're going to have to come up with to combat on Thursday night. But I like the Falcons here. I think they're playing really, really well. They've got a lot of explosiveness with their offense. Dexter McDuffie's running the ball really well at quarterback. Nazir Monroe-Smith, Emmanuel Lewis, they've all had big games so far and racked up a ton of yards. So I think the Falcons, they won this game last year. They've got a lot of momentum at 2-0. I think they go on the road and go to 3-0.
All right. A lot of flies, by the way, is why we're giving out signals here.
The dangers of being outside
in the press box.
Exactly.
I like being on location, so it's cool.
Absolutely.
But, I'll go with South Central as well. The Falcons might be my sneaky little good team this year. I like that squad. I like what Andy Two's doing. It seems like they're just building confidence along the way.
Definitely.
Similar to what this Conley crew was at like 3-4 years ago, and they were kind of turning the corner. I think South Central's kind of doing that now. I like South Central. It's a tough matchup. They're going to have to hit hard, play well up front. But I'll take the Falcons in that one.
Okay.
Our final Thursday game, I'll take this one, at least as of now, as of Wednesday at whatever time we're at now.
Yeah.
East Duplin 2-0 goes to Aiden Grifton 1-1. An interesting Aiden Grifton season so far. And they got beat last week, lost to Pamlico. Week 1.
They beat Pamlico last week.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Never mind.
Okay, week 1, beat Pamlico.
Bounced back last week.
But the first one was close. I think some turnovers. You mentioned it was a close game that kind of got away from them.
Right.
Last week, I remember that from Monday now when you read that.
Right.
Yeah, all over the place. But Aiden Grifton showed some grit, as Paul Cornwell said, to kind of fight back, get that win. And East Duplin, though, scored over 100 points in 2 games. Seems to be, obviously, an offensive charged team right now. So Aiden Griffin's going to have to score some points to kind of keep up. And, the history we know with the Chargers is they're able to do that a lot of times. So probably a high-scoring contest out in Littlefield on Thursday night. For a pick in that one, I'll take I think I took Aiden Grifton last week to win, and they came through. But you got to zig when everybody zags. So I'll take East Duplin, based surely on the 2-0 record, if anything. I don't know much about the opponents or how they've looked. We obviously hadn't covered those games, but I'll take undefeated East Duplin as I go against the Pitt County squad for some reason. So whatever.
Well, you're not
go with that one.
You're not zagging on me because I'm taking East Duplin as well. And this is a team that's averaging almost in their 2 games they've rushed for an average of almost 400 yards. So I mean that offense is
tough,
just really, really good. And Aiden Grifton, I think the defense is still the strongest part of that team as the offense kind of figures itself out early in the year. But I don't think that defense has got anything for. They might be able to hang around for a little while, but I think East Duplin goes in there and gets the win. Like we said, as of right now, those are the 4 Thursday games. To jump to the games that as of right now are scheduled for Friday. The first one of those 2 is Hunt at J.H. Rose. A couple of 0-2 teams. I think we knew that Rose might take some lumps early in the year, but a really tough outing last week against at Laney on the road. They turned the ball over 5 times in the first half and fall 34-12. But if you're a struggling team, looking at the numbers for Hunt and kind of the offensively anemic numbers that they've had in their first 2 games, I think if you're struggling and you need a team to come in and get things on the right track, I think this looks like a week that could possibly happen for the Rampants. They've got the talent. They're still just trying to figure themselves out. Hunt has really, really struggled to gain yards and score points in the first couple of weeks. So I like the Rampants at home in this one to maybe not fix everything and get completely turned around, but at least point it in the right direction.
And they need it, obviously, as you touched on. For Rose to be 0-2, I know they've lost a lot of talent here in the last year or 2.
Right.
But that's tough, and that's not an easy way to do it. Defense, obviously, they've given up some big plays. Some turnovers have cost them on offense. But I'll go with the Rampants. I'm wearing my baby blue here. Just by coincidence, it was clean, and I grabbed it. So kind of odd to wear this at Conley, and they haven't kicked me out yet. But I'll go with the Rampants to win and get off the schneid, but they're going to have to play a lot better for sure. Last game, this is me, right?
Yep.
If we're on track here.
Yep.
Green Central, 1-1, but always a good Green Central team, especially the past few years.
Yep.
Is at 1-1 North Pitt. The big story of week 1 was North Pitt got a win. Started that new coaching era, Wingate with a win. And they were riding high, and last week lost to Kinston, close game. We talked about that last week. Kinston's always a tough matchup. That's not that bad. 19-12, you lose by a touchdown.
Definitely.
Kinston, I think they had some leads at different points of that game, and Kinston kind of pulled away or got some big plays in the second half. But a good matchup. I think as far as the pick, I just think Green Central's too strong. I like this North Pitt team. I like what they've done the first 2 weeks. Certainly get a win. The first week was huge, but that's a tough task. Green Central, some of those better 2A, 3A, that area teams could be pretty good. So interested to see what the Panthers do, but as far as a final pick, a final outcome, I think Green Central kind of takes control in the second half maybe and gets a win.
We've come to another point where we're gonna branch off here and differ, because you know what, I was almost more impressed with the way North Pitt played at Kinston than I was in week 1 when they beat South Creek at home. To go on the road and play Kinston as tight, which we talked about last week. If they continue to make these games a little bit closer, this was a game that they were right there and had a chance to win. So coming home off of a loss that is about as close to the biggest moral victory that you would kind of take.
Yeah, sure.
The Green Central team that's really good, but as the lawnmower comes by here, I'm going to take.
Time to wrap it up.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm going to take North Pitt here and in the upset. So
I like
those are our 6 games. Hopefully you can still hear us, and we'll be back next week with for week 4 of the season. Hard to believe it's already at that point.
Yep.
And so thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.
Make sure you obviously read our stories, throughout the weekend. Go to reflector.com to read how the games go and everything.
Or pick up a paper.
There you go.
And we'll see you guys next week.